question, Joe, you put in for the Parliament of Papas, which usually is more of a tongue-in-cheek segment. Joe was like, well, let's make it serious. So, Joe, what's the parliamentary question now?
What is stopping you? And that can be interpreted a ton of different ways. What is stopping you from reaching your goals? What is stopping you from starting down a path that you really want to take or that you know you need to take? Just in general, what is stopping you?
You're asking me first?
Just in general. Anyone who wants to pop in.
Why don't you go, Joe?
So I think a lot of people, and we've talked about this earlier in the show, they get into this rote going through the motions, and it's comfortable. It's comfortable to not change. And changing, they call them growing pains for a reason. If growth requires a level of discomfort, more often than not, and it's pushing past that is when growth is actually seen. And so getting started is often the most difficult step for a lot of people. It's taking that first step into realizing where they want to go. So yeah.
Well, actually, you have a book inside of you that you haven't started.
I sure do. Yeah, I've got a bunch of notes written down on my phone and in a OneNote, and I've been categorizing it. But yeah, I need to just sit down and start writing it at some point, because I've got a lot of the different plot points already in my head, and I highly doubt that I will write it sequentially. Most people don't. I'm gonna end up writing down the scenes that I have in my head and then figuring out how they mesh and work together. But ultimately, I need to just start putting words down.
Joe, do you feel like for you doing the podcast that it would be easier for you to tell the stories?
Like tell this,
like just talk it out.
I ask because with the technology now, you can record, as you know, you can record a podcast. I'm going to talk about this episode, and it can, put it into a transcript, and then you can clean it up how you like it. I know you're fun to listen to, so I just put that out there. If you struggle with sitting down and writing with a pen or typing, it might be less resistance for you to do it over audio.
That's not a bad idea at all. And I recently found out that the internet version of Microsoft Word actually can auto-generate transcripts for you. So maybe, just start talking it and then clean it up from there. That's not... I probably wouldn't do it live on a podcast, because, that wouldn't be polished at all. But that's not a bad idea. Just speak it and then polish it after the fact.
Yeah.
Thomas is solving all the world's problems tonight.
Let's go.
So, in your own personal answer, Thomas, what is stopping you?
Naturally, I'm somebody, I like to help people, and I like to solve problems, and I like to be intentional and authentic to myself. I am not a person who is you're going to be scrolling through your feed and then see me and be like, oh, wow, look at him, or like, oh, he's saying something crazy that's going to piss off a lot of people.
Right, yeah.
It's just not who I am. And so in this age, what's stopping me is finding that way to reach the right people who I'm the person for to help. In an age where there's a lot of flash, and I'm competing with a lot of I don't want to say eye candy, but just like a lot of instant gratification type of short form content. So that's what I feel like I'm running up against, is how can I reach people that I need to reach with still being authentic to myself, and catch the eyeballs.
That is tough. I've always hated clickbait. I talked on a panel this past weekend about not just being authentic in the way of showing your true self, but being like what you said, being authentic to yourself, and going like, TikTok. If you really watch the way my wife uses it or other people, 30 seconds, boom, 30 seconds, boom. I don't do anything in 30 seconds, and so. My shortest video is still like 4.5 minutes long on a platform that really feeds into 30-second, 45-second bits. But it's just what I have to do. But what is stopping me is me. It's always me. It's always either I overthink it or I push too far, or I do so much in a short period of time that I just exhaust myself, and there's no pacing. So, like typically on Saturdays, I'll get up, I'll edit this show, I'll take care of another project that I do, and that's 30, 40 minutes, and it's up. And then I'm out here, and the family's off doing stuff, so I have hours to work. And over the last, not counting the weekends I was busy, over the last 2 months, it's just been like, I'm so exhausted because I've gone and done multiple shows and done lots of work and this and that, the other, that I'm not... You re-edit. We want to do a new intro for the show. I'm not even doing that simple task. I'm not. One of the things I want to learn this year is how to make the type of music that we played for the commercial break, because it's always intrigued me. I've got basic stuff, like to join with what you said, Joe. Essentially, I've got notes down. I've got some ideas. I've got some tools. I'm just not using them, and it's so easy to quote Shia LaBeouf of going, you said yesterday, yesterday you said today, just do, and that is partially true. Just do it. I don't know, man. I just let other things distract me. I want to ask a hopefully a basic question, Thomas.
Sure,
do you do the leadership, dad, all of that encompasses? Do you do that as a living now, or do you still have to maintain a day job in the meantime?
Yeah, so I left my teaching job in 2022 and made the jump into this. So I'll do the retreats during the summertime, and then I do one-on-one leadership coaching with dads who are wanting to solve specific problems. And specifically, dads come to me who are willing to say, like, hey, my kid is acting a certain way, and I want to change how I'm leading them. So a lot of parents are like, hey, my kid's acting a certain way, I want to change my kid. That's not the person that I work with. I work with the person who says, okay, my kid's acting this way. I know I'm not able to control him or her, but I can control our relationship. I can't control how I lead him. And that's what I want to focus on. And in the end, it truly ends up being a lot more impactful for the whole family, because the dad's modeling the behavior that he's hoping to see. And so it sticks. It's not as quick, as the coins in the jar and some of the schemy stuff, but it's lasting.
And that ties right into what is stopping you. What I heard was asking the right question, right? You phrase it in your world of, hey, my kid is doing this. How do I change myself to help with that and influence the change? And, Joe, I don't know what the right question would be, but some question that leads you into, okay, writing the book now. And for me, same thing. I've got a book I started a long time ago that I put dust on. I've got some shows I need to polish and put out of seasons. What is stopping me is I think it is not asking the right question, because it feels like, that resonated someone, not just as a dad with a kid, but just with changing your life. Every time my life has changed for the positive, it has been because I asked the right question. So I guess we got to, maybe we did solve the world's problems tonight, Joe, with the Parliament of Positive. Ask the right question, man. Great stuff. I see our time here. So I want to give another run through here. dadswholead.com. Go check it out. It's amazing. I subscribe to your podcast, Dads Who Lead podcast. And then I'm going to be looking at least my 13-year-old. I missed out. My oldest son is 19, so I imagine, and he's not in high school anymore, so I imagine we've aged out there. But definitely want to look at the DWL retreats and and see how that can change a life. You know, because I've never been an outdoorsy guy. I don't want to take my kid hunting or fishing or camping. I mean, Joe will take Bob and Jebediah out to an igloo and sleep in the snow somewhere, but I'm not down with that. I need my internet and my comfort. But I saw a little glimpse on the site while I was putting up the links, and you got paintball, and you talked about all these other things that I've already slipped my mind. But I'll listen back to the podcast, and I'll go read the websites. Everybody should check that out.